A great fight that took place a few months ago. It's the WBO, the IBF, and the WBA. All the titles are on the line in a 12-round fight at 175 pounds. The reigning champion, of course, is Andre Ward, 31-0 with 15 KOs. He's from Oakland, California, and he takes on the former champion, Sergey Kovalev. He's 30-1 with a draw and 26 knockouts. Of course, he's from Russia. Well, Dave Bontempo, I tell you, it's been a lot of fanfare leading up to this. These two guys don't like each other.
Well, you know, they go back to the disputed decision last year that Ward got, that Kovalev thought he was going to get, and then that led to a lot more discussion getting the rematch together, which they did here. And so the second fight is on. More talk. Ward was glib this week. Kovalev was, I'm done. Let's just do this.
Well, first off, there was a situation with the trainer, and supposedly he wanted to slide over and go with Ward's people, and then they said no, that's not the case at all. So there's been a lot back and forth about that, and Kovalev accuses him of head games. Well, all that aside, it's going to be a terrific night. And then on top of that, you also have the co-feature, the 12-round WBO and WBA Super Bantamweight World Championship at 122 pounds, as Guillermo Rigondeaux and Moises Flores will do battle for the championship of the world. But before that, we've got a couple of fights for you to get you warmed up for boxing and to get you ready for the pay-per-view and, of course, our international telecasts around the world. Our first 8-round fight of the evening is Christopher Martin, and Christopher Martin takes on Tremaine Williams. Christopher Martin comes in here 30-8 with 3 draws and 10 knockouts. He's from San Diego, California, and he takes on Tremaine Williams. He's an undefeated fighter with 3 knockouts. He's from New Haven, Connecticut. And our second 8-round fight of the evening is Fabiano Peña, the Pitbull they call him, and he takes on Vaughn Alexander, newly signed with Main Events, Kathy Duba, and we'll tell you his story when we get to that fight. It's very interesting. So we're just about set to go, and I see Jake Gutierrez is standing by, and we'll have this fight underway very, very shortly for you. Is Tremaine Williams. 10-0, 3 knockouts. He's from New Haven, Connecticut. That's Kenny Bayless, the referee. They call him the Mighty Midget. He's only 5'4", but this kid can fight. He's a southpaw. He turned pro in April of 2012 with a TKO win over Jesse Anguillo here in the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Since then, he's won all 10 of his professional fights, fighting mostly in Las Vegas and Texas. And here's Christopher Martin, 30-8 with 3 draws, 10 knockouts. He's a boxer. He turned pro in July of '06 with a unanimous decision win over Rogelio Lopez in Phoenix, Arizona. From 2006 to 2011, he won 25 straight fights without a loss. Along the way, he picked up the WBO, NABO Super Bantamweight title at 122 pounds. He's a former California State Bantamweight champion, so he's a good one. So we've got an interesting fight that you get to see on free view, Dave.
And you know, this is a guy that had a good start, and then after some things went bad, he got thrown to the wolves as far as his level of opponents.
All right, Jake Gutierrez is standing by, so without further ado, let's go up to Jake.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome you to the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino, right here in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, as Rock Nation Sports, Main Events, Crusher Promotions, and SOG Promotions present a day of professional boxing for your enjoyment. These bouts are sponsored by Corona Extra, La Cerveza Más Fina, by Jetlux, by Life 10 Water, sponsored by Zappos, also Douce Cognac, Pro Subs, powered by Monster, and the host hotel, the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. Also, these bouts will be broadcast on HBO pay-per-view. Right now, fans, we are ready to head to the action, so we'll begin with our upcoming bout scheduled for 8 rounds featuring junior featherweights. Our 3 judges scoring will be Lisa Giampa, Robert Hoyle, and Ricardo Ocasio. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Kenny Bayless. Introducing first, he'll be fighting out of the red corner. He wears the black trunks, and he weighed in at 125 3/4 pounds. His professional record, 30 victories, 8 defeats, including 3 draws, with 10 wins by knockout. He comes to us from San Diego, California. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Christopher, the SD Kid Martin. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the black corner. He's wearing silver trunks, and he weighed in at 124.5 pounds. He is unbeaten as a professional with 10 bouts, 10 wins, and no losses, 3 wins by knockout. From New Haven, Connecticut, here is the mighty midget, Tremaine Williams.
So it's set to go as the referee Kenny Bayless calls him in. 10-point must scoring system, and no standing 8 count. There's no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Only the referee can stop the fight. And in the case of an accidental foul,
good on
it
both
becomes
sides.
official after 4.
Gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to caution you again to keep this fight clean at all times, protect yourself at all times, and what I say you must obey. Good luck to both of you. Touch them up.
All right, so we're just about set to go here at the Mandalay Bay Event Center. The Colonel Bob Sheridan here with Dave Bontempo. Our principals in here and our free view leading up to our World Championship fights this evening. And we're glad that you can be with us wherever you're watching across the United States or around the world. Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev coming up, the light heavyweight championship. But right now, it's Christopher Martin in the silver trunks and in the black, Christopher Martin in the black trunks and Tremaine Williams in the silver trunks. You notice right away that Williams is a southpaw. He turned pro in April of 2012. Putting his jab in there. He's a little guy, but he can really sting.
And these guys come at it from different directions here, as Williams is 10-0 with 3 knockouts, and Martin, who's got the 8 losses, he was thrown to guys like Gary Russell, Johnny Gonzalez, fighting guys 18-0, 24-1, 15-0, and then he comes off of a victory against a 15-0 opponent. So Christopher Martin is rejuvenated despite the 8 losses. So for him, this is the parlay fight if he's able to get this done, and he'll be trying to get that right hand lead in against the lefty.
Now Martin in the black trunks again. He had a win in March against Franco, as you mentioned. That was in Los Angeles, and it kind of revamped him and got a chance to fight on this card. He had a terrific record all along to begin his career, and then when he started moving up in class, Dave mentioned some of the guys, along with Johnny Gonzalez and Gary Russell Jr., Miguel Mariega is another one that comes to mind. These are all really top ranked fighters. Nice straight left hand down the middle by the mighty midget. He's the one that calls himself that. Those aren't my words. That's his nickname. But he's having a field day right now as this little southpaw hitting with authority. And he got him in some sort of trouble right now. Kenny Bayless watching. Williams better start answering and throwing some punches back, even though it's only the first round.
This doesn't look like a guy who's only got 3 knockouts in his 10 wins. So that was a nice first by Williams, and he put Martin in some trouble. Martin's beleaguered by that.
Martin's a little staggering right now. He's another series of left-hands. Remember, these are his powers. Like Kenny wants to stop this fight. He was down on one knee by an accumulation of punches, and he calls it a knockdown. So Williams down here in the first round.
7.
Takes that 8 count.
Good. On the knees.
Martin not there. Opportunity for Williams.
Now look at this guy, Williams. He's just all over him. There's about 40 seconds left in the round, so there's plenty of time.
Well, we're not saying the veterans tie up, which is what you would expect here. Now we see it from him. This is what you want to do to try to buy some time.
You know, this guy's got 30 wins. He's had over 40 fights, and he's not fighting like that at all. He's getting pummeled by young Williams. Williams got those big, strong, powerful shoulders. He feints, and then he comes with the uppercut. Closing seconds of round number 1 now. And apparently, Martin is going to survive this first round, although there's a big flurry right at the end. And at the bell, he gets hit again and staggered. So that's a really good round. That's a 10-9 round that the judges are going to score. That could be 10-8 because he did everything but go down. He was down there.
In there too,
that's
so.
right. So that's a 10-8 round.
It can almost be 10 seconds.
That's what I meant to say. You picked that right up. But it will be scored 10-8. Chris Martin trying to recover from the pummeling he took in the first round. And I'd be very surprised by the amount of punches that he took if he gets out of the second round now. Chris Martin from San Diego.
So here's how it all happened for Williams. On the left side, good straight left hand down the shoot. And then he continued to put the pressure on. See the leverage, the power coming from the hips? Looks like a smaller Devin Alexander.
Yeah, he does. All right, we moved to round number 2. This is scheduled for 8. It's in the junior featherweight division. That's 122 pounds. Christopher Martin came in at 125 3/4. Tremaine Williams is 124 1/2. Martin also has a 2-inch height advantage over Williams, but it hasn't shown in the first round.
They're at different speeds. Christopher Martin has not gotten into the pace of this fight, and Williams,
I don't know, is he confused?
He just doesn't look right for Martin.
Is he confused? I mean, he knew he was fighting the southpaw. He's trying to get the jab out there, but he's not stepping up into it, so Williams is coming right through it. There it is with the straight left hand down the middle again, and it's his jab that's getting to Martin. Martin has an advantage, slight advantage in reach, although they both recorded at 66.
Well, the idea that he comes in here off of that nice win for Christopher Martin, if Williams keeps up this type of assault and gets him out of there, it will be that much more impressive because this is a guy who had some momentum coming in here, but Williams, the hand speed is at least a second ahead of Martin at every turn, and his foot speed is good too.
Yeah, and as Dave said, this is a step up in class for him fighting Martin, who has 30 wins. Martin's 30 years of age. This kid Williams in the silver trunks to the left of your screen. 10-0, 3 knockouts. He's not a big knockout puncher, but his punches are showing some power against Martin. There's a hard right hand. Ken's going to stop the fight. That's it.
Come on, man.
Martin goes berserk.
Come on.
If you put yourself in that position,
Come on, man. Sir.
he has to make a judgment call. May not like the call.
No, he didn't like it, that's for sure. Kenny's one of the very best referees in the world. He saw him take a pummeling in the first round, and then he was,
Get on down. Let the doctor check you
by
out.
that right
Let the doctor
hand,
check you
he's
out.
not happy about it. Kenny doesn't even react to it. He knows in his mind he did the right thing, and I wouldn't argue with Kenny Bayless, let me tell you that.
I'll say
Take the
it's
gloves
better a
off.
minute too soon than a second too late.
Well, that's for sure, and he took a very, very hard right hand to the temporal bone. Jake Gutierrez is moving in there, and
Touch me.
Yep, I got it.
Beautiful work, baby. Beautiful yes. work. Yes. I was he was getting punished. He's gonna take a beating for like 8 rounds. He got kids. He got to be able to his kids when he's 50.
Way to take him apart.
He never saw the left hand every time.
It was 10 more seconds in the first round. I stopped.
and he's going to take punishment for 8 rounds. And he took a lot of punishment in the first round, and I was surprised he did as well as he did, but that was a really, really hard right hand. So watch this, Davis, leading up to the stoppage for 30 seconds. Watch the pummeling.
Martin barely gotten through the first round. Kenny Bayless had looked in at the end of the first round and nearly stopped it in the final 10 seconds of that first round. So now the assault continues here as Martin on the outside and leans in. Good shot from Williams. Straight left hand. There's the right hand after the straight left hand coming through.
Come on, man. Come on.
Hey, if you had that much energy now,
Hey, dog.
your trainer would say, why didn't you spend it differently in there? That's the judgment area.
Well, like you said, Dave, he took a pummeling in the first round, and then there were about 4 or 5 unanswered punches there. It wasn't just that last punch. And the kid was going to get hurt. Here's another replay.
These are the type of situations where when you get hit with, say, a guy with moderate power, but you hit it over and over again with shots like this. This is where the real damage occurs. Now, he got everything into those shots. And, yeah, this is a veteran who knew enough to hold on in the last round finally. But these shots come through and all the leverage here. Now he's upset, but he was in bad shape after that right hand hit.
You don't argue with Kenny Bayless, that's for sure. He caught him with a series of punches, and Kenny wasn't going to let him get hit on his watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Kenny Bayless stopped this bout at 1 minute 44 seconds of the second round. The winner by TKO victory and remaining undefeated, the mighty midget, Tremaine Williams.
All right, so it's a terrific win for Tremaine Williams. We've got another fight coming up after this one. Once they clear the ring, we've got another scheduled 8-round affair in the middleweight division with Fabio Peña and Vaughn Alexander. And don't forget to our main event of the evening, which is why we're here to talk a little bit about it, Dave. We talked a little bit about the controversy when we first came on the air here. Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward. We remind everybody that the first fight was so close that 1 round would have made a difference. Andre Ward was knocked down in the second round of that first fight and then came on in the second half of the fight. It was remarkable. We had Kovalev slightly out in front by a point, I think. The judges all 3 agreed that Ward had won by a point.
And
so
what
it was
nobody
that close.
argued, what nobody argued was that Ward made a strong surge in the second half of that fight, and that Kovalev probably took his foot off the pedal to some degree in the last 6 rounds of that fight, because if he just gets one of them, he puts this thing in his win column. The great thing about that fight is 2 of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world going at it. Again here, 2 of the top 3 or so pound-for-pound fighters vying for their belts here. So you're glad to see the rematch, and then it's good discussion about what each guy might do differently here.
Yeah, it was interesting when you and I talked to Kovalev yesterday that he was saying, you know, he was gassed by the 4th round, that he thought he overtrained. But I'm of the opinion, you know, fighters look for reasons why, but I'm of the opinion that the body shots early in the fight had an effect on him. Body shots that he was never accustomed to in his career. And, you know, he would argue with me on that for sure. But that, I think you got to give credit to Andre Ward on that side. And there's a lot of personal dislike between these 2 guys, which always adds to it. This is Las Vegas, Nevada, and let's take a little look.
My buddy Frank Belmont and I walked that this morning. Gorgeous, gorgeous view of this terrific place.
First fight ended in controversy. One was victorious.
And new champion of the world.
The other was enraged.
Do you want a rematch?
Of course.
The rematch everyone is waiting for. This time, there will be no excuses.
Oh, down goes Ward.
Bad blood runs deep. Ward versus Kovalev 2, the rematch. Saturday, June 17th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
Andre Ward is a special fighter. He is the challenger, moving up in weight and taking on the consensus baddest man in the division, light heavyweight champ Kovalev.
The look on most of these guys' face, especially fight week, was, yeah, we hear you talking, but you bit off too much this time.
One of boxing's best offensive fighters, a knockout machine who has just rampaged through the division, destroying everything in his path.
Ну, я думал, что будет реально с ним тяжело в том плане, что будет тяжело по нему попасть.
I thought the first fight was very competitive. I really thought it could have gone either way.
It was a
what I consider a David versus Goliath event.
I remember saying during the fight at a certain point, only a great fighter will win this fight. You have to be great to win a fight like that.
I thought the first fight was two classic styles, the pure vicious puncher in Sergey Kovalev and the game-studied, defensive, almost genius-level talent of Andre Ward. And I think when you bring those together, you had the potential for a real high-level chess match, which is what we ended up seeing.
Sergey Kovalev, I spoke to the man, and he asked me who I thought won. And I said, no comment.
Thought it was a close fight. I thought Kovalev won a close decision.
I was in, I guess what you can call the minority, having Andre Ward winning that fight, 114-113.
He fought a smart, perfect fight. And he made Sergey Kovalev fight a fight that no one have seen him fight. And 30-plus wins with almost 80% knockout ratio on his record. That was a game changer.
Oh, down goes Ward on a perfect right-hand shot. And never has he tasted thunder like that before.
The second round stood out just because of the knockdown.
Kovalev's a big puncher. He's got a monstrous right hand.
For a second with Sergey Kovalev, 1 little second, you get off your mental, done. It's lights out.
At that moment, having seen so many Sergey Kovalev fights, I was convinced that this was going to end early.
See, that smile means you got me. I'm glad I'm up, but that was good, Sergey.
Kovalev wants to finish. He's gonna go for it right now.
I got hit with his best shot and was fortunate to get up.
Look at me.
I think Andre Ward showed people a lot about himself in that round. You know, he was hurt. He says he wasn't hurt, but I think he was hurt.
You know what we're here for. You great. Don't worry about a knockdown. Don't even entertain it.
This guy's never lost since he was 13 years old. Well, I guess this is the reason. Here we go.
Now go out there and turn this around for me, Dre. Do it. It's an uphill fight for Andre Ward.
Sergey Kovalev can really punch. You're like, man, this guy might be the monster that everyone says that he is.
У меня была возможность, конечно, его добить, но которую я, в принципе, и не упустил.
Rise up, be confident. Rise up beyond it. Survive or survive. Those are my only options.
Try to fight while you hurt. Try to fight while you don't even have your legs, let alone your bearings. That's when you're in trouble. Andre Ward recovered so quick. You seen the fight, I seen the fight. He recovered within seconds. That is training. That is important, but it's also the man.
You really want to see what Ward can do?
He got up with that fire in his eyes.
Oh, now Andre's getting off the deck, and it's not against some kind of guy who landed a lucky punch. That punch was landed by design, by a guy who knows how to end fights.
A lot of times taking a good punch is a mentality. You make up your mind, and you're stubborn about it, that I'm not going nowhere.
He needs to risk a knockout to win this fight.
It says that Andre Ward's got a lot of guts, a good jaw, a big heart. He's there to win. He's saying to himself, there's nothing that's going to stop me, not Sergey Kovalev or anybody else, and that's what he did.
He basically dictated the whole fight, and the other dude has just complained since.
Низко опустил голову, обнял и держал меня, поэтому то есть там времени уже осталось мало.
Judging from Kovalev's reaction when he put Ward down, I think he had a feeling that he had it.
Я попытался его добить, но не получилось.
Absolutely. He missed an opportunity. Anytime you knock someone down, when you get him in that position, they don't see another round.
И потом я просто подумал, что не буду торопиться его закончить.
He tried too hard for the next 4 rounds to land that one perfect shot, and knowing that it kind of used a lot of his energy.
That might have messed with Sergey's psyche. That was a hard shot I hit him with. Everybody else didn't get up.
When a bully gets punched in the face and a bully hits you with his best shot and you get up, the bully pees down his leg. And that's what the bully did. He had no plan B because he thought that he would land his best shot and that would be that. And that wasn't that.
How those things happen when you used to doing something and it's going your way, and now you run into that one guy that gets up and fight you tougher and stronger than the first 3 or 4 rounds. And I think that Sergey Kovalev was shocked.
Well, the Colonel Bob Sheridan back here with Dave Bontempo. And Dave, I got to say, Bernard Hopkins really analyzed that. But one thing when we were talking to Kovalev yesterday, he said in his punch in the second round, which was really key in the fight, that when he hit him with the right hand, he hit him up towards the fingers of the glove as opposed to catching him with the knuckles of the glove and knocked him down. He said, if I caught him with the knuckles, he wouldn't have got up. Very interesting comment.
I think he's right, too. I mean, he's got so much power that was in the one half of the power realm, and then if he got everything in there, but that was the angle he had, and it showed some good dexterity that he could land the punch from the angle he was at and still be able to knock Andre Ward down. It was a tale of 2 fights. It was Kovalev early, and then it was Ward later on, and then it was a question of when the judges believed that Ward started to make his move, and that was the subplot of that first fight, and that's what they're talking about now. Who can make a move earlier? If you're Ward and if you're Kovalev, you got to put the foot to the pedal more.
Roy Jones Jr., when I was talking to him, said, you know, in talking about that fight, if you're going to win a fight and it's a close fight, you got to win the second half of the fight. It makes sense, and that's exactly what, of course, Andre Ward was able to do, and he got the judge's decision, even though a lot of people thought it might have been a point the other way. But when you have as many close rounds in a fight like that, you're going to have a situation with scoring always. Here we are in the Nevada desert. It's a beautiful day. Well, the rematch is coming up.
Their first fight ended in controversy. One was victorious.
And new champion of the world.
The other was enraged.
Do you want a rematch?
Of course.
The rematch everyone is waiting for. This time, there will be no excuses.
Down goes Ward.
Bad blood runs deep. Ward versus Kovalev 2, the rematch. Saturday, June 17th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
He's used to having his way. He's used to dictating before fights, during fights, and he wins a lot of his fights merely on his reputation.
We had to catch up. That was where the focus was, to win the next rounds one at a time and get into the fight. And just take it round by round.
We gotta win every single round. You hear me?
He's gonna have to weather the storm and rough Kovalev up.
Where it really went in another direction was right around rounds 4 and 5 when Andre Ward made that championship level adjustment.
I think Kovalev took his foot off the gas a little bit.
If I were in the corner, I would have been yelling, Sergey, God darn it, jump on him, you know, because that's what you got to do.
Now what are you going to do, Andre? Do you have a plan B? Yes. Plan C? Yes. Plan D? He has plans A through Z.
A lot of times you got to bully the bully. He doesn't like you in his chest.
This is what the greatness is.
There's nobody on that level who is that adaptable as Ward, who can be in the middle of a situation, whether it's going for him or against him, and react to what his opponent is doing better.
Robinson done got up. Leonard done got up. Ali done got up. You got up. Do it.
I've never really had to come from behind like that, and to prove that to myself in the biggest moment of my career, I feel like it took me to another level.
However you want to encompass what happened in that first fight, something changed in the middle of that. One guy was able to make the adjustment. The other guy, Sergey Kovalev, was not able to.
I mean, Kovalev dealt with it very well, but that's one of the things Andre does well. Those who would say, well, but that threw Kovalev off. Now, what Kovalev should have done, yeah, okay, you go in and do that against Andre Ward. You know, what Kovalev did was totally excellent.
You know, we're used to him blowing people away.
He's nobody into the ring, you know. First 4 rounds, like, I didn't feel it. But in the 5th round, my energy finished.
Andre cracked his code. We dismantled what they call the crusher.
Просто потерялась, не знаю, кончилась Поэтому я добоксировал все 12 раундов, вот оставшиеся 7 раундов. То есть не знаю на чем, только на характере.
I'm gonna let the fans know a big secret for this fight here. Honestly, Sergey brought another guy in from Russia to speak. So during the fight, I was limited on what I could say. So now, how are you gonna limit me on what I can say when I've devised a plan for you to fight this kid? Now you're going to another guy. I don't know what he's telling you. I've never seen him fight. First time I've ever seen him in my life, so I know he's not a boxer.
There were a couple of rounds that could have easily gone either way.
So if you're going to give those close rounds where not a lot happened to Sergey Kovalev, the thing you have to ask yourself is, what did he do to win those rounds?
You know, you judge a fight, you say to yourself at the end of the round, who hurt the other guy more than the other guy hurt him? And in my mind, Sergey Kovalev hurt Andre Ward in most of the rounds.
I thought Sergey Kovalev clearly won the 10th round of that fight. And I remember turning to the guy next to me and saying, well, that stopped the momentum.
Yeah, there's no question Sergey Kovalev won the 10th round. I mean, come on.
Tremendous fight.
It wasn't what I expected. I expected more.
Вот, и я его просто переоценил из-за этого.
It's never been like, you know, after any pro fight, I don't know if Andre won. No, you know Andre won. Everyone knows Andre won. But for the first time, he was, you know, And there's something about the beneficiaries of bad decisions in boxing where they're painted as the bad guy. They don't score the fight. And of course they think they won, right?
If we went on the basis of how fighters felt at the end of every fighter would be undefeated, right? So
Michael Buffer has the paper in his hand.
It was a very difficult fight to score, and I didn't envy the judge's job that night. I think either way they scored it, the loser of the fight could have had a problem with the scorecards, which Sergey Kovalev obviously has had.
114 to 113 to the winner by unanimous decision.
In my opinion, there's no question that Sergey Kovalev hurt Andre Ward in most of the rounds, and he did more damage, and he deserved that decision.
And new unified light heavyweight champion of the world, Andre Ward.
It just wasn't a good decision. I mean, there's no question in my mind that Sergey Kovalev got jobbed.
He was pissed.
What did you think of the decision?
Nothing. Like I said before the first fight, you know, they said, why do you need to win this fight? I said, because if I don't, I won't be given the benefit of the doubt. That's documented. What do you mean? I said, I have to win. I said, if he loses, he'll get a pass. Well, I don't understand.
Really, I'm disappointed for judge's decision. Like, people say, like, I won this fight, and everybody agreed with this.
You had an opportunity to finish me. You knocked me down in the second round. Where was the crusher?
Witnesses is here. Witnesses are here. Everybody saw what happened.
If you watch Andre Ward's reaction as the decision is being announced, he's almost surprised that he came out with it.
And new.
I don't think Andre thought, boy, I got a gift there. But I'm sure he felt that that was a close one and maybe I got away with one.
I think Andre Ward deep down thought it was possible that he lost that fight, and that's why he had the reaction that he did.
I've seen that many times.
Естественно, он сам понимал, что он проиграл, и был удивлен, когда объявили новый чемпион мира. Это, конечно, было и видно на его лице.
I mean, can I not be happy? I just won a light heavyweight championship of the world. I've been boxing a long time. I knew it was a close fight. 100% I was elated and happy.
На самом деле, я очень как бы злой.
I called him at night and he says, I rewatched the fight and there is no way I lost that fight.
I've challenged anybody to sit with me and show me where he won the fight. Anybody. So far, no takers.
I'm a guest here in USA, you know, he's a local, and all judges was from USA. Like.
He's on record saying that Forget fighting in Nevada, I'll fight him in Oakland. Can you imagine if I got a close decision in my actual hometown? The sky would fall. It'd be a wrap.
I think that's a little sour grapes on the part of Sergey Kovalev. I thought he won the fight, so I understand his perspective. But I don't think that it was Andre Ward being favored because he's American.
I would say there might have been more incompetence on some of the judges' parts than there was any kind of home cooking.
It's a unanimous decision. You think all 3 judges got it wrong? But that's been the standard in my career.
Inside of him, he really knows, but he can't show it. If he would be a true man, he probably will take those belts right there in the ring, bring back and say, look, man, I didn't win this fight. This is belong to you. That's what I would do. He would grow into everybody's eyes. He would become an icon. But he doesn't think about that. He wants that unreal glory. He took what is not belongs to him.
Do you want a rematch?
Of course, I want a rematch, and I will kick his ass.
I think there's unfinished business here, and no matter what Andre wants to say, I think he recognizes that.
You know, it shouldn't have gone past round 2.
All right, the Colonel Bob Shorten back here along with Dave Bontempo. This is where we are in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's about 110 degrees outside, and for all you've heard from Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev, fight number 2, it was so close the first one, Dave. And, you know, I heard everybody criticizing the judges and whatnot. You know, I go to a lot of the conventions, and I always go to the judging clinics. And one thing I've learned with professional judges, any of us can score the easy 10-9 round. But 50% of professional judges disagree on the close 10-9 round, and there are a lot of close 10-9 rounds in that fight. Now, you and I had it slightly for Kovalev. Let it go right in line, because the 3 guys that counted, the 3 professional judges, had it all the same way by 1 point difference in us.
And the whole philosophy of it was that Ward had a very good second half of the fight. And so one of those early rounds that we had given Kovalev, they gave to Ward. But still, for Kovalev, it was out there for him for the last 6 rounds. All he had to do was a little bit more, and even if he wins 2 of the last 6 rounds, he wins the fight. Now, the fun thing when you start to talk and analyze about him is he came into that fight off of a similar effort against Isaac Chilemba back in Russia, in which the fight went longer than people expected, and in the second half of that fight, he didn't look like his menacing self. So we saw that from him 2 fights in a row, where he seemed to hit a bit of a stamina wall in the middle of the fight, and that's something that we'll see if it comes out again here tonight.
Well, we'll find that out, because he's in against one of the very, very best fighters in the world today, and Andre Ward, who, by the way, is the reigning champion, who's undefeated. And, you know, for all the talk that there's been in Las Vegas this week about the Floyd Mayweather fight against the MMA kid from Ireland is going to be stealing a lot of headlines, and has stolen a lot of headlines this week. But all in all, this is a much better fight than that could ever hope to be.
This,
with all due respect to my countryman McGregor.
For sure. This is the one that is the real fight fans fight. You've been a Kovalev follower. You've been a Ward follower. You have seen them progress. We saw Kovalev win his title back in 2013. We saw him stalking Adonis Stevenson, thinking that he would get a title shot in 2014 with him. That did not occur. He took on the circuit. He beat Bernard Hopkins, beat everybody in front of him. And then we did all the fights with Ward last year to lead up to his movement into this division. We saw him in Oakland a couple times, and we saw him shake off the ring rust fight by fight, and then he puts it together here. So it's an interesting crossroads.
It certainly is. Well, we've got another fight for you. Vaughn Alexander will be taking on Fabio Peña. This is just a tune-up for you as you get ready for Ward Kovalev 2 that will be coming up, along with 3 other fights and another championship fight. But right now, as soon as they begin to make their entrances into the ring, Vaughn Alexander comes in here at 9-0 with 6 knockouts. Now, he's an interesting story. Kathy Duba signed him to give him a second chance at life. This kid started out, had a real good amateur career, and then he started out as a professional, and all of a sudden he got himself in trouble. As you take a look at the tail of the tape, it'll tell you a few things. Number one, the height's exactly the same. 5 pounds heavier is Peña. The age, a couple of years younger is Peña. And the reach, 72, 72, exactly the same. And the countries that have it in the metric system, there you have it up there. But basically, the height and weight advantage goes to Peña.
And to continue your story, that the Kathy Duva gave him that second chance after a prison sentence, and he's come on, and he wants to be Devin Alexander's brother. So there were good connections for him there. And he said, I want to be put in tough. So that's what their goal is. They're going to put him in tough and try to make up for lost time.
Well, this is Fabiano Peña, and he hails from Chiapas in Mexico. Comes in here 16-7-1. Boxrick actually has him with 19 wins, but a lot of those fights down in Mexico sometimes don't get credited every place. He turned pro in Brazil with a draw with Sean Pereira back in February of 2012. Then he went on to win 11 fights in a row, 8 by knockout. He left Brazil in 2014, and in 2015, he suffered his first loss to Vagislav Shambransky in San Antonio, Texas, for a minor title. He's fought as high as cruiserweight as well. And Peña comes in here at 166, a little bit heavier than the middleweight title. He's been very active the last year with 7 fights. He went 5-2. This is his second fight this year. As a boxer, he's tough, he's aggressive, but in the last couple of years, he's been a bit chinny. But he comes to fight, so that should be pretty exciting. And Vaughn Alexander, 12 years in prison, now he's back out. He has the opportunity to get it going again, and Kathy's given him that chance, and we admire her, and we certainly admire Vaughn, who is the older brother of the former champion, Devin Alexander. A great kid, a great family, so we wish him the best in turning his life around. He's totally motivated. Again, his third fight this year. He's been 10 rounds one time in his career, so this 8-round fight will be something. Vaughn Alexander making his way in. Some sort of alarm going on in here, Dave. Did you hear what they said about it?
No, I did not catch that.
Still alarms going off. Jay Nady, the referee, doesn't seem too concerned, and should have this one underway. Hopefully, they still have that alarm going, and I'm sure whatever that problem is, they will get that squared away very shortly. So we're waiting for the fight to get underway.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino here in Las Vegas, Nevada, we continue with our next bout. It is scheduled for 8 rounds featuring middleweights. Our judges will be Kermit Bayless, Adelaide Bird, and Max DeLuca. When the bell rings, the man in charge, referee Jay Nady. Introducing first, he'll be fighting out of the red corner. He entered the ring wearing white, trimmed with red, and he weighed in at 166 pounds. His professional record consists of 16 victories, 7 defeats, with 1 draw, including 13 big wins by knockout. He comes to us from Tuxtla Gutierrez, Chiapas, Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Fabiano, the Pitbull Peña. And across the ring, fighting out of the black corner, he's wearing red and black, and he weighed in at 161 pounds. He is unbeaten as a professional with 9 bouts, 9 victories, no losses, 6 of his wins by knockout. From St. Louis, Missouri, here is Vaughn Alexander.
Vaughn comes in with that hood on, the animal. We'll find out. 8. Trained by Lamar Alexander, Russ Anbar, and George Jakovic. Peña has Rafael Zambano and Baltazar Molina, along with Adriano Dos Santos and Fabio Peña Sr. working with him. So, Dave, we're just about set to go. It's a 10-point must scoring system. No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Only the referee can stop the fight.
Make sure his belt is not above his belly button. Yep.
I gave you instructions earlier. 8 rounds. Obey my commands. Defend yourself at all times. Good luck. Touch gloves and let's go to work. Thank you.
All right, so here we go. We're all set to go. Decked out in the white trunks with the red trim is Peña, and that's Alexander with the black trunks and the red trim down the side of his trunk. So in the white trunks is Peña, in the black trunks is Vaughn Alexander. Alexander looks in tremendous physical condition, huh?
He looks cut. He really does. And he gets in with a guy who's been in with tougher opposition, but now hopes that he can take care of a guy coming up to fight him.
The usual style is Vaughn Alexander, where he kind of has that left hand crossed in front of his heart. And boy, if I'm a right-handed fighter, I want to circle to the left, get the left hand out there, try to push that down, parry it down with the left hand, and then crack him with the right hand. That's what I would do as I was with Peña. But Alexander has very, very fast hands, and of course he's in great shape. He goes with the right hand lead there.
Well, we thought it was a rule in the Alexander family that you're to be a southpaw. Is it? You're waiting for the switch.
Well, you may see it. You never know what Alexander might do. He turned pro in April of 04, and he strung together 5 wins in 04. Then, as I mentioned, out of action for the 12 years. And he did his time, and he's thrilled to be out and made his mistakes, readily admits it, and he said, I won't make any more. So I'm just at age 31 now, Dave. He's been out of action a long time, and at this age, it's good that he hasn't taken any punishment in the ring for 12 years. It'll help him. He'll be a young 31.
And it's good for him that way, and it's good for him that in his life he has so much in front of him to be out and to have a whole slate to try and do well. And in one respect in boxing, even though he hasn't been hit, there's a timetable for trying to move up. So we would expect that if he is successful, they will look into fast-tracking him.
Yeah, of course, the middleweight division is a great one. The WBA, WBC, IBF champ is Gennady Golovkin. The Ring Magazine champ is Canelo Alvarez. And then Billy Joe Saunders has the WBO title. The big one, of course, coming up between Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez. So these are the type of guys that Vaughn will have to fight. They got the, as we mentioned, his brother Devin was the world champion, and so they've got the pedigree in the family. Really hangs that left hand where he crosses in front of the chest or has it down. Favorites to sucker Peña in. Peña, you know, has been very active. Last year he had 7 fights and went 5-2. This is his 2nd fight this year. The book on him, he's tough, aggressive. But in the last couple of years, he's been a bit on the chinny side, meaning he's been knocked down quite a bit.
He's not afraid to gamble, and you look at that left hand of where Alexander has it. He's trying to sucker him in. So you have 2 options as a fighter. You can just ignore it or get in and out. You have to trust your speed.
Yeah, but he's setting up in front of Alexander, and he's not taking advantage of Alexander having that left hand down. I told you how to offset that in the closing seconds here now in the 1st round. That's an Alexander round. Peña was the business. But if you want to beat Alexander, you've got to slide off to his left shoulder, drop your left hand over his right, and then drop your right hand.
How you feel that first round? Okay. Hey.
Alexander working on his front.
Trying to win.
Peña fought Brazil in 2014 and 2015. Good journeyman fight.
Well, he's been stopped in 3 of his last 5, but Uzcategui was one of those guys. Fighting a guy who ended up losing for a title. So he's had the top-level opposition if he is able to carry that confidence into this fight. And that's the question.
And Kathy Duba will try to move Vaughn Alexander along as long as he does his job and continues to winning you know, this is a fighter that's been very active in Peña and a decent journeyman fighter. This is the type of fighter that Von Alexander has got to defeat at age 31. And a lot of time to make up for.
If you're looking to see how and when you would decide about moving an Alexander, it would be how you look round to round. They want to make sure you're not taking rounds off. They want to see how you are if the fight goes the distance. Your stamina level at the end of that fight. That was a good left hook to the body, really. So it's an intensity meter. One is the result of the fight, and one is the play-by-play over the course of it as your trainer shoots it.
Well, he had that nice left hook while you had it, Dave, and then just at the end when you were talking, he clipped it with a solid right hand. So he's landing the heavy blows here in the second round, and this is scheduled for 8. Those are powder puff punches by Peña, and he can take those all day. Peña now goes to work with his jab, but look at these counters back. Alexander has much more authority. That's where if you have a punch that you see that Alexander's landed 6 or 7 jabs in this round, they really don't mean anything. It's not significant amount. It's how heavy the punches are. Even that one on the back of the glove, that left hook by Alexander was heavier than any of the punches that Peña landed in his 5 or 6 punches that he did land.
And watch the hips for Alexander. Watch how he'll pivot and get the hips through the punch. Maximize the effort of it. So, good example of it right there.
That elbow's starting to come down now for Peña. He doesn't want to take too many more left hooks to that area of the liver. He really hit him hard, and it's the second time in this round he's done it, several times in the first round. Alexander really sitting down with his punches. Nothing there. You know, he's throwing punches, but the jabs, the tap jabs, and Alexander just sitting down on these punches. He's really blasting. There's another one right here. Behind the glove, back to the bottom. In between, Peña trying to get off. Nothing on it.
You don't give him anything to worry about. He will continue to plow through. If you're looking at Alexander, he is doing this with impunity here.
Comes to the uppercut that time. It's the first time we've seen that in the fight. On Alexander to the right of the screen. The black trunks with the red trim. The white trunks is Peña. Fabiano Peña, who's from Mexico. Alexander, of course, from St. Louis, Missouri, in the USA. The bell ends the second round. That's all. It's 2 for 2.
Hey, give me a different water after this round. Nah, I'll take this round. After this round, give me a different. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Now, well, hey. Domina mais do centro do ringue. Joga ele pra frente. Busca mais essa luta. Vamos. Meu, coloca teus golpes mais potentes embaixo do corpo. Se mexendo por dentro. Tá muito passivo. Tá muito. Meu, tem que buscar mais a luta. Vamos. Você entendeu, não? Mexer, meu.
Take a look at how Alexander just tees off here. Left hook each one, but then throws the right hand. Getting everything into it if he's not worried about what's coming back.
All right, here we go. We moved to round number 3. We're at the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas,
Round 3.
Nevada. And, of course, this is the preview leading up to number 2, Ward Kovalev. Ward, as you know, won the first fight by the narrowest of margins. Many people thought Kovalev won, and that's what the second fight's all about, and it'll be very strategic. And Kovalev says he's going to hurt Ward. So Ward, who's a real competitor, doesn't like that, and that's what we have coming up for you. It could be one of the most sensational fights of the year, so stick around and don't miss it. Right now, this is round number 3. We've got Fabiano Peña from Chiapas in Mexico taking on Von Alexander in the black with the red trim. He's from St. Louis, Missouri, 9-0 with 6 knockouts, and so far through the first 2 rounds, he's been hitting this guy at will. Those powder puff jabs aren't going to keep Alexander off at all. But he snaps his left jab in there, and he catches him right on the chin with it. That's a punch.
Well, this is a fighter's dream matchup in that you get the ability to sit down, not worry about what you might get hit in terms of a jab or a hook on your way in, so you could just get in for free and then go to work.
See, everything that Fabiano throws, Peña I'm talking about, just doesn't land, and almost everything that Alexander does, you know, he hurts him. Nobody's been down, nobody's been
Watch your
shaken as
head.
yet, but he's not going to be able to take these punches much longer.
Like Cabasas.
You
Watch
look
your
at
heads.
where Alexander is throwing his punches from, and that gives an indication as to why he's getting to Peña. He gets right into the power zone easily, pays no price for that, and then as a result, he can fire and get more on his shots.
Straight right hand lead, the left jab on the chin. So far, Peña's been able to gobble everything up, but it's not going to last long if Alexander keeps hitting him with clean punches. His jab is a punch. That double that jab a couple of times, then throw that loop right hand. That's a nice series of punches. That's the first time I've seen Fabiano, his legs actually affected.
Well, the right hand capped everything off. The jabs and then the right hand punctuating it. So for Alexander, literally everything is in a groove. The timing is there.
His head is like the size of a basketball, and Juan Alexander comes in. Now his Peña trying to get back a little bit, showing some of the
watch
grit
your
that
heads.
he's got. Jay Nady keeps telling them to watch their heads. Referee. Those punches fell short, and Alexander threw. Here he goes with the right hand. Solid left hand. Right hand catches him, and all of those punches by Peña at the end there.
Time!
It's the third round, and that's another Alexander round in the book. He's perfect so far. 30-27 on my score.
Toda vez que tá indo pra trás, você tá vindo com a perna de trás, tá um perigo. Você tá juntando as pernas, planta e sai pela lateral. Planta e sai pela lateral. Passa uma vaselina na boca. Vamos, respira.
Passing the test in terms of aggressiveness. Still about the power, though. Going to have to see about that if he's got the ability to take guys out. Here he is, loading up with everything. Good right hand gets in, good left hook gets in. Target practice for him right
Finish
now.
off to the body.
Passing this test.
I'm breaking him down.
He decides to
1-2-5 to the body.
stop and
1-2-5 to
fire.
the body. Whenever.
What Alexander's doing. Good close up there. Surprised he hasn't had Peña off his feet, though, for everything that he has hit him with.
Well, Dave, with the accumulation of punches, it's only a matter of time. All right, so we get ready to go to round number 4. The Colonel Bob Sheridan here with Dave on Tempo. Coming up later on, the Ward Kovalev Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. We'll have that for you when we do our world telecast. And right now, we're giving you a little preview of the boxing that's coming up tonight. This is Fabiano Peña in the white trunks trying to get in on Vaughn Alexander, who has his way through 3 rounds. This is a scheduled 8-round fight, and Peña better start winning some rounds. It's not likely the way Alexander is pummeling him right now in this fight. Alexander is in great shape. He's throwing a ton of punches and a ton of hard punches. We told you his story about his prison sentence and how Kathy Duba was the one that gave him a second opportunity in life, and he's taken it. Good guy, good family. He got himself in a bit of trouble, and he paid the price heavily. And his boxing career did too. But right now he's got this chance.
Got the right people around him too.
Yeah.
If he can make a run, he'll maximize that. And here, he couldn't ask for anything more as far as how this is setting up in front of him. When he moves his feet, Peña comes right to him. Anytime he gets ready to punch, Peña is right there for him to be hit.
Yeah, Peña, throws those swinging shots and they're very wide. And you saw what happened there on the inside while he's throwing the big wide shots. Alexander got off about 4 or 5 punches and a couple of combinations. But you see, Peña is not taking advantage of what I told you he should be taking advantage of. Pushing that left hand down and blindsiding him with the right. See, he's standing right in front of him instead of sliding down. This is the wrong way to fight him, and it surprises guys in his corner. I mean, Mexican trainers really know their boxing, and that's an easy adjustment for him to make. But look at this, he slides right back in front of him again. This is not where he should be.
As a result of all the moves he's not making, he's right in front of Alexander, and that's the wrong place to be when a guy is trying to sit down the way Alexander is.
And in spite of the fact that Alexander's hands are so fast, you can still cause him to miss with his left hand by parrying it down with your own left and blindsiding him with the right. But it's not going to happen because they haven't told him to do that, and he hasn't picked it up. And here's a guy, you know, that's had over 20 professional fights. There's just no zip in the jab of Peña whatsoever. He throws it wrong. He's jabbing off his front foot instead of driving off his back foot. He sets up right in front of Vaughn, so he's making a lot of mistakes, and Alexander's capitalizing through 4 rounds. He's won them all. I like what I see against Alexander.
How you feel? Good. Good. Deep breath. You're doing everything that we worked on, bro. You're doing it.
We stopped. So body shot. They stopped it on the body shot, brother.
That's it. The fight's all over. They've stopped the fight. Evidently, the corner of Peña determined that he didn't want to or couldn't take any more punishment, and I think that's exactly right, because he wasn't going to do anything at all with Alexander except get beat up.
But the way this ends is a feather in the cap of Alexander, that you wear a guy down so much that in the corner it gets stopped. And that's really, it's a salute to your perseverance, for your consistency, that you've kept the pressure on the whole time, and that's what he's been able to do.
I also give Rafael Zambano, if he in fact is the guy that stopped the fight, a lot of credit, because he could see clearly he's a very experienced corner man, and knowing that his fighter wasn't going to do anything, and there's just no sense of having him take all these head blows through the course of the next 4 rounds. He wasn't going to win this fight. It was clear to us, and it was clear to Zambano, who, as I say, is a very good trainer. If Vaughn Alexander, it's a nice step up against a guy who was a step up in class for him. So he takes him out at the end of 4 rounds. It will be scored as a technical knockout victory for Vaughn Alexander, and we certainly look forward to seeing more of him. I want to follow his record now that we know his history, you know?
And see if he can maintain this work ethic fight after fight, because that will be a big key for him. It wasn't one shot, but it was a consistent and persistent assault that got him this victory.
Vaughn Alexander, his record moves to 10-0 with 7 knockouts. Here's Jake Gutierrez.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout ends at the end of the 4th round. Due to a rib injury to Fabiano Peña, he cannot continue. Therefore, this contest is awarded by TKO victory. He remains undefeated to Vaughn Alexander.
So we find out it was a rib injury that caused the end of the fight. So it's a good thing that they discovered that and stopped that, because, again, Dave, the way it was going, just no sense of continuing on. It may or may not be a rib injury, but his ribs, I'm sure, are very, very sore, because Alexander sit down on almost every punch that he hit him with.
You don't hear that too often, that the rib injury causes the fight, that the body shots essentially forced the fight to be stopped. And this guy did it with the good hooks to the body.
On Alexander, here you go, Dave.
Peña coming up short, and then Alexander continued with his assault after that.
So as you take a look at the end of the fight, you see that Vaughn Alexander just continues to score. And his Alexander is pretty happy with that.
Oh, it's a nice way to come through and get a victory.
All right, so the main event, of course, and the reason why we're here, we had the opportunity to show you a couple of fights here this afternoon. but this is why we're really here. It's Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev for the WBA, WBO, IBF Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. It's coming up later tonight. And Dave, we've got some other fights that are on the schedule as well. This is what people want to see and why they need to tune into the pay-per-view. But we've got one of the very best boxers in the world in Guillermo Rigondeaux taking on a very tough Mexican fighter in Moises Flores, who's ranked as high as 6 in Ring Magazine, and he happens to be the IBO reigning world champion. Nobody's been able to do anything offensively to Rigondeaux, who's a tremendous defensive fighter. And that fight is also coming up, so that's our second world title fight on the schedule. And, you know, Rigondeaux is a guy that's been a promoter's nightmare because of the style he fights. And Rigondeaux, when we talked to him yesterday, just told us, look, this is why I fight. I win all my fights. What can I do?
Hit and don't get hit. That's the name of the game. That's what they told me when I started.
That was the great quote of Angelo Dundee, the late great. And on the second fight that we're going to see in the pay-per-view is another really interesting kid named Dmitry Bivol. He comes to us from St. Petersburg, Russia, and he had a very long, successful amateur career. I think it was something like 268-15. He won several world championships from 2006 to 2014. He was a Russian national champion, and he takes on a guy by the name of Cedric Agnew, who was 29-2. So Agnew, who also had a good amateur career, light heavyweight champ, Golden Gloves a couple of times. And then this is the very first fight you'll see tonight. It's the USBA middleweight championship. Luis Arias, undefeated, 17-0, tremendous amateur career as well. A U.S. amateur middleweight champ, 2008, 2010, 2 times. Turned pro in December. He defeated Josh Thorpe in that in the Staples Center, and he's 17-0 with 8 knockouts. So he's a guy that always comes in top condition, and he'll be taking on Arif Magomedov, another one of these Eastern European fighters that turned pro in Russia around 2013 with a split decision over Ruslan Sirikev. And then after that, he won his first 15 pro fights after that, all in Russia, all wins, picking up several minor titles. So that's what we have for you on the pay-per-view coming up. So we've got a lot coming up, and we want you that will be with us on the international scene to stay with Dave and I, and the people in the United States will be watching HBO Sports pay-per-view in the United States. But right now, we've got another preview of our main event coming up. Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev. Enjoy this.
Their first fight ended in controversy. One was victorious.
And new champion of the world.
The other was enraged.
Do you want a rematch?
Of course.
The rematch everyone is waiting for. This time, there will be no excuses.
Down goes Ward!
Bad blood runs deep. Ward versus Kovalev 2, the rematch. Saturday, June 17th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
We haven't seen a rematch like this in a long time.
After falling short in November, Sergey has become his own personal hype machine. In one of his latest tweets, he demanded, "Andre, pray to me." Sergey, I think what you were trying to say was, pray for me.
Да, конечно, сейчас второй бой перешел больше на личное, потому что я должен вернуть свои пояса.
You're gonna curse on social media and show your butt. Hey, we're not into all that. You can keep tweeting on your phone over there. You can cry and complain and all that. That's what bullies do when they don't get their way. Bullies make excuses and bullies try to intimidate when they don't get their way. Well, you didn't get your way, you ain't getting your way, and you're not gonna get your way.
You don't deserve respect from me.
Maybe it's a tactic, maybe it's how he really feels, but there is a dismissiveness to Ward when he's talking about Kovalev.
I don't care about an Instagram, I don't care about that stuff, man. This is chess, it's not checkers. You can make all the moves you want to make, but it's about the checkmate.
This man for me mean nothing, you know, like he's с короной на голове, да.
He thinks too much of himself. He's walking like he has a crown on his head.
I'm very much in this guy's head. And I've learned more about him post-fight in the last 4 months on how he dealt with adversity than I could have ever learned about him in a 12-round fight. I didn't get to where I'm at because of something weak about me. I didn't get to this point by happenstance. The reality is he's got to see me June 17th. That's the reality of the situation. And whether you're with me or whether you're against me, don't miss this fight. June 17th. He got what he asked for.
I'll make it short and sweet. My greatest hope for June 17th is that the winner wins this time.
What do you want to do to him when you see him?
Punch him. I want to punch him. I will get this opportunity.
These guys don't like each other. And let me tell you, it's genuine.
They don't have to like each other. It's a fight, you know?
Я за это не переживаю, с каким он отношением ко мне относится, то есть уважение или что он там испытывает ко мне. Мне, если честно, вообще без разницы. Вот, мое желание одно – закончить его карьеру, поэтому трилогии, наверное, не будет, скорее всего.
I think that pretty much sums it up. Sergey's, I'm coming to end your career. That's it.
I think the animosity from Sergey Kovalev's point of view is that Andre Ward has kind of made it seem like he won the fight convincingly when obviously a lot of people thought that Sergey Kovalev won the fight.
Sergey Kovalev's really the first fight that he's had where at the end of it there was any doubt as to whether Andre Ward had won or not.
What some may think is hurting me, oh, you lost in it, that's fueling me. And that's actually helping me.
He really is being a sore winner. And I find that surprising and telling and very revealing.
I think probably the biggest thing Andre Ward is offended by is Sergey Kovalev saying repeatedly that he's afraid of him. He's clearly not afraid of him. He's now fighting him twice.
There's nothing that keeps me up at night. There's nothing. Be afraid of a rematch. I just fought you for 12 rounds.
You know, the first fight was essentially the first half of this contest, rounds 1 through 12. They're fighting a 24-round fight. They didn't realize that that's what they signed up for, but it turns out that that's what we're going to get. We're halfway through now.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny. Sergey's only fought 2 rematches. And if you look at the outcome of those 2 fights, I think he absolutely obliterated both of them.
Sergey might be the most inherently bad man I've come across.
You, sir, once again.
No, me, no.
Why not?
You know, you talk to him, and even when he's being really nice to you, you know that one way or the other, he was going to wind up earning money from hurting people. And he is going to want to not only win the rematch, but to do so in a way that causes Andre Ward actual physical pain.
He obliterated Darnell Boone, just blew him away. That was it. And as far as Jean Pascal, who he had bad blood with, he didn't knock him out quickly, quite deliberately. He just prolonged the beating. Having a personal dislike for his opponent just makes him better.
Let's put it this way. We saw in the ring Sergey Kovalev, but not Crusher. We will see Crusher.
Run. If Sergey Kovalev loses twice in a row, no matter how controversial the verdict might have been, this is a guy whose whole image is based on him being this indestructible force. Andre Ward beats him twice in a row, that's gone.
Is the scene. We're back here at the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm the Colonel Bob Sheridan along with Dave Bontempo. And Dave, this is really, really hot outside, about 110 degrees, and inside very comfortable right now. But when these two guys get in the ring, the action is going to be as hot as it is outside, I'll tell you.
You know what? And they know each other's style. They fought against each other. The ebbs and flows of the first fight, where Kovalev was able to put Ward down, not able to finish the job. Ward waging a very good second half of the fight. And the idea that for Kovalev, they said, hey, we saw Sergey, but not the Crusher. That's an angle we'll look and see if the Crusher is able to emerge in this fight, or whether Andre Ward is just too crafty for him.
Well, that's the whole thing that Andre Ward, along with a guy like Bernard Hopkins, just great fighters. They not totally defensive like a Floyd Mayweather, but the guys that can react and pick their action, but set traps, know what they're doing. And if you've been watching our preview show throughout, you had a good opportunity to hear a lot about what Bernard Hopkins had to say about this fight. And I just think it's going to be spectacular. I can't wait for it to get going. And on top of that, we've got the other World Championship fight that we talked about and a couple more fights before that leading up to it. So it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful night of boxing. I certainly urge you, if you're any kind of boxing fan, to sign up for your pay-per-view. And you people that are taking on the world feed, you want to stay right with us because this is going to be a sensational night of boxing.
The guys are 177-4.
Wow. How about that?
In our 4 fights.
All right, Dave, one of the key rounds in the fight and why maybe some of the scoring was so controversial was because in the second round of the first fight there was a knockdown. And we're going to show you folks the second round of the fight because it was certainly something showing the crusher and this guy, Kovalev, and this is from the first fight.
All right, here we go, round number 2 here.
So you see that Kovalev is looking to try to land some power shots. And at this stage in round 2, I think that Ward's still feeling him out.
And Kovalev trying with the head feints, looking to see what will work, trying to get comfortable as to what his best positioning will be on the floor and whether Ward is going to do stuff like this.
With the power guy, Ward slick knew exactly what he was doing, walking him the straight back. But at this stage in the fight, he hadn't been able to get to Kovalev at all.
So that's taking away the momentum and the pace of the fight as it's strategic.
There he gets out with a nice solid jab. Kovalev comes right back and neutralizes the bit of offense that Ward had. That's why I think at this stage that Ward was still trying to just figure him out, feel him out, see what he could do. But you know that, Dave, he's a very technical fighter. What is it?
I mean, he figures this is one of the best punchers he's ever come up against, so he's trying to set the trap, and he can walk into some trouble.
Yeah, and Ward says for this fight that he has no fear of this guy at all, but Kovalev's people would say there's going to be more pressure in this fight, and you'll see in a minute what we mean. Because when he hits you with the right hand, it's a power shot. I mean, to this point, this round is all Kovalev because Ward Andre hasn't done much at all in this round. Then a couple of shots. But at this stage in the fight, Kovalev is the ring general. He's landing the heavier blows. He's landing cleaner punches.
And he's moving smartly side to side. Setting off the jabs.
Yeah, and getting off first. Ward's still trying to figure him out. You notice how quick the hands are and how quick the feet are of Andre Ward. Oh, he caught him right there. Now, it's hard to analyze exactly what happened there because it happened so fast, but I'll tell you this. When we talked to Kovalev yesterday, he said that the fingers of his glove hit him more than the top of the hand where you punch in the knuckles. So, here he is coming in to try to do some serious damage here.
And, he did catch him that way, and it was because it was a quick move that he adjusted to that he did not get that extra split second into that punch, but the payback for him was that he scored a knockdown with it.
And another solid right hand there by Kovalev, and that ends the second round of the fight. And now in the third round of the fight that we're going to show you as well, we expected to see Kovalev just turn it up a big notch and cause some problems for this guy. But he's able, because of tremendous physical condition, to pull himself together in between rounds.
Yeah, because he was nailed and down but the recuperative powers were good.
You understand? All this coming to you.
Let's take a look at that. Let's see what that Kovalev comment is. And it's exactly what he told us yesterday with the part of the glove that lands. It wasn't the power knuckles, it was the top.
Watch it again, see if this will show it any clearer. Yeah, see, almost push. You see the heel of the hand on his jaw? If that hand had been turned over, in other words, if he had had a little bit more positioning on him. And now, instead of showing you the third round, we're going to jump to the last round of the fight. And this is important because everybody thought that Kovalev won this round. It's the uppercut by Kovalev. We expect to see more of that in this fight.
Again, the movement.
And very experienced judges.
Now, I think we gave this round to Kovalev, and all the judges gave it to Andre Ward, as I recall. I'm not 100% sure of that.
There was also around the 10th round,
That's
which
right.
I believe we gave to Kovalev.
And 2 of the 3 judges gave it to Kovalev. But yesterday I watched that round several times, the 10th round, and I think that Ward won it just ever so closely, and that's the problem with these close rounds, even like this round. There's another close round. You have real close rounds, you're going to have a problem.
And you go back and look at a fight the second time, and if you score it differently, well, that shows you what the judges were looking at that
That's
night,
right, because there's emotion. I don't care whether you're broadcasting like we are or you're an observer, but when you're up in the position where we are, you can really see the fight. You can tell how hard the punches are. You can see the legs. Seeing shots like this, you can't tell the legs what's going on, but we can see it. Ward trying to put pressure on him, and as I watch this, you know, you wonder what's going on here and the way we scored it. Body shot then by Kovalev. But you know, it's back and forth, and a lot of rounds are like this in the fight.
Especially the second half of that last fight.
There was a shot that Kovalev referred to that it wasn't really a low blow. He said he'd been hit by low blows, but
the other thing is then from the subjective standpoint, it's measuring the severity of the shots. And Kovalev had more of the severity, and Ward had some that were clear lands.
And that's very subjective in how the judges see it. But this isn't a close round, eh? You know, it's not clear cut. And I've pointed out so many times when we've called fights before that in judging the fights, when you get that close 10-9 rounds, that's when you usually have controversy. And it's funny because you never have controversy in undercard fights, but if it's a championship fight, there's always controversy. Everybody has his own opinion.
But I don't think it's going to be enough.
But when it was done, you know, we were talking about, I just heard us in the background.
Based on that, I think we did give that to Ward tonight. But we didn't believe it was going to be enough. Kovalev early, Ward late.
Yeah, and then of course, look at the expression, the facial expression on Kovalev. Does he look like a guy that's won the fight? On the other hand, Ward does
he look like a guy that lost the fight?
Yeah. Jacob Duran comes in there, wipes the face off. Both guys, a lot of anticipation. Sergey Kovalev, Andre Ward coming up. Big fight. And here was the second round where the knockdown occurred, and like I said, the positioning of the gloves that he talked about, and then it was easy to pick up because we were looking for it. He never did get the hand turned over completely. Otherwise, Ward might not have got off the canvas, and that would have been the definitive end of the fight and maybe the career of Andre.
But he showed great instinct to land it and pick up the opening as quickly as he did. If he waits that half second to get the full impact, maybe the punch doesn't land at all.
I expect him to come out not tentatively at all in this second fight. I expect certainly that Kovalev will put a lot of pressure on him for a lot of a lot of the early going in this fight.